We're up and running. Hi everyone, it's Lee Ashby from Motocross Memories Worldwide. I've got another cracking interview for you this evening. I've got MX star Steven Clarke. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, dude. All good. Ready for a cool interview.
Good man. Thanks for really appreciate your time doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, mate. I love it. Interview is probably one of my favourite parts about motocross.
You'll all see that I've got Steven in the background doing his knack on the old Buildbase Honda there, because he's down with the Supercross boys. Right, so we're getting to the questions in, Steven, top man. First of all, how did you get into motocross? And what is your earliest memory of the sport, and what bike did you first have?
Basically, my dad and my uncle used to race like way back in the day, like in the 70s, and they used to share a bike and everything. And so it's been like in my family for years. And then right just before I was about to turn 7, my uncle convinced me into asking my dad for a little bike. And lo and behold, 7th birthday was a KX65.
Oh, yeah.
No, KX60. So it was
Yeah,
it's 1997. So before the 65 was out. And pretty much, to be fair, I looped it out straight away.
Did you?
Had it for a little bit, and then as soon as I got into it a little bit, we haven't looked back since. To be fair, and my earliest memory was I remember when starting the bike up for the first time, and my dad pushed me around the garden in like a circle, obviously on it, and then a few weeks after that went practicing and stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I could literally picture.
Can you remember that? Can you remember that?
Yeah. I've actually got really good memory. You can ask me some of these questions, and I'll give you some like specific times and dates and that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Some of the guys do that, like, Yeah, that's good that you got the good memory as well. Then that's cool. What riders did you look up to and idolize when you were young, and why? And have you ever got to race any of your heroes?
I got so when I was younger, obviously I used to look up to the AMA Supercross when I like I said back then, 97, 98. So it was like the old school guys, and I watched Carmichael like turn pro pretty much. I was at Fox Hills 98 for the Des Nations when Carmichael was there at 125.
Yeah, I was as well. Yeah.
I pretty much followed Carmichael the whole time, and in the background lurking, obviously because I'm from Europe, was Stefan Everts, who is like at the time there was just two of the greatest men ever to be in any championship, involved in motocross, and it was like a split kind of thing between those two. And then I don't know, but James Stewart comes along, and he's just another level. And I don't think I've ever raced Stewart, Carmichael, or Everts, but I've been at like the same GP as Everts in 06. I watched him do his last ever GP at Ernay, I believe it was. Where he actually wore all white, like a one-piece suit, especially made. It was sick. Yeah. And I've been at obviously the same race as Stewart and Carmichael, but don't think I've ever raced them, no.
Yeah, I got to do an interview with Stefan Everts, so obviously that was pretty cool.
I did see that's your display picture on Instagram.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah.
He's a great guy. And
he's really nice.
There are a lot of stories to tell.
I spoke to his son Liam last night, and he looks a bit of a talent and a cool young lad.
Yeah, he's definitely up and coming. He's on 125s now, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's on the best equipment they can ever get. So
that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on. I think he's on the path to being something special too.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. On to the next one. Who would you say has been your closest rivals in your career to date, and who do you enjoy racing with the most, and why?
Honestly, like one of the most intense rivalries I've had, because again, there's been loads since Minis was a certain person, and it was like when I was just turned on 250, it was Ashley Greedy, and then obviously been around America with some people in that for a couple of years. But the toughest competitor I reckon I've raced against, and like the biggest rivalry I had was with Adam Sterry in 2016. Like we were literally going at it. Every motor, we were side by side. Either I'd get a start and he'd catch up to me, or vice versa. And there's a lot of controversy throughout the year. We both had bike issues. Mine just happened to be at the last round, and
the title.
It was mad. Yeah. Well, so it cost me the title. I went into Fox Hills 1 point behind the lead, which Fox Hills is my favourite track, and I've won there like multiple times in the past. So I was feeling good, ready for it, and just one of them freak things, mate. It was it was a little condenser that's under the seat on the KTM's, and when the Huskies, it just went out. It was brand new for the meeting and went out after lap 1 of the race. But hey ho, second, I still got second, and in my head, I felt like I was a champion because I'd put in all that effort all year, and we did it out of 2 sprinter vans, me and my dad, and Brian McKenzie, as opposed to Derry was on like a factory team with a big set Arctic and everything. So it was good. I enjoyed it though. We never fell out one time. We raced rough and we banged bars, but we didn't really ever fall out, and there wasn't ever any like dirty riding and stuff. It was always just like a good battle. Good. So that's probably one of my favourites.
Awesome. That was a good season. I remember that. Following that, next one I got for you. What's been your favourite race bike during your career so far, and which team have you enjoyed racing for the most, and why?
It's okay. So it's split between 2 bikes for my favourite race bike because one of them was Australia in 2012. I was on a factory Suzuki, and it was just like perfect. It felt so nice. The power was good, and to be honest, I only raced Supercross because I had a wrist injury, so I didn't really get to the outdoors when it was like longer tracks where horsepower was an issue. And I always thought Suzuki's been a nice bike. I raced it many years when I was younger. But and then 2017, Stu Summers, my mechanic from a long time over here, built me a bike to race the AMA Outdoors on. It was a KTM, and we did it again privateer. I went out of like the MTF like box van sort of thing. Me and mum and dad was driving around the country, and literally I was like top 3, top 5 off almost every start against like factory bikes in America. Earlier in the season, I did 1 Supercross round and a whole shot that in the main event. Well, almost whole shot. Me and Dakota Alex were like side by side, but so those have been my 2 favourite bikes. But my favourite team I've rode for is definitely this one. And I'm not saying that because I'm wearing a Honda shirt now, because if everyone that's watching this knows I speak the truth at all times. But it's just been so cool. It's me and Ryan was actually my mechanic when I first went onto a 250 on Hondas, 2006. So we've been like friends ever since, and getting to work back with them, and
that was nice. Ready to go.
Buildbase Honda team's like the biggest team in England now. If you look at the paddock, it's the most professional. They've got the best setup. They've got all the new equipment and everything, and it was just an easy fit. I got on, like I said, I get on well with Ryan. I've known Dave. I used to train with Dave back when I was on 85s and stuff. So it was just an easy fit to jump into. And then of course 2 cool teammates. I grew up with both of them. They're like 1 year older than me, and they're always like a little bit one class ahead. I was on big wheels, they were on 125s, etc. But I've been good friends with them both for years. So it was it's definitely, I'm gonna have to say this one's my favourite year so far.
That's really cool.
Buildbase Honda crew. Even just down to everything. Like I was on Hondas the last few years, so my suspension, just literally my settings flew straight over. So can't pick it up enough.
Can't wait to get going then.
Yeah, literally get me behind the start gate.
Where the old bullshit stops and all that. What is your favourite race number? Has it changed throughout the years? And was there any reason for having a want in it, and how did it come about?
I'm gonna have to say 511's been my favourite so far. It just, and the reason it actually has got a bit of a reason behind it, to be fair. First bike I ever got that I was talking about, the KX60, came with number 5 on it because it was Chad Yarrington's like ex-race bike.
Chad Yarrington,
well, which back in the day on autos up to like big wheels, he was like the man to beat. Do you know what I mean? He always had bikes. But so 5 was the number on my first bike. Switched through a few different numbers. I was number 11 on the 85s when I won literally everything I entered. And then turning to 250s I was signed up for the BYMX, KWS, the under 21s, and the British Championship. And to get number 11 in all of those, especially my first year in the Maxis, was hard. So they just suggested I'd pick a 3-digit number, and I tried like 115 and 151. They both looked crap, and 511. I wrote that out, and I was just like, that's the one.
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
the one.
And,
so you amalgamated the 2 then.
Yeah. So it's got a bit of a story to it. It's cool.
That's got nice meaning. That's good.
And then I find out recently, after, no, not shortly after,
Yeah.
I found out my eldest sister's birthday is the 5th of November, which is
So it's
5/11 as
bang
well.
on. Bloody
I
hell.
know. Yeah. So
That's
that's
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Okay, next one I've got is what track stroke venue do you least enjoy racing at and why?
Ooh, which track do
Ooh,
I least enjoy riding at?
yeah, do you not get on with or you don't
Oh,
like?
hands down, Lommel. I hate the place. I'll be
Disappear in
honest.
the sand.
No, I'm actually a good sand rider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've spent the time in the sand. I've been over in Belgium plenty of times, you know, and I clinched a European MX2 title at Lommel. I just hate the place. I genuinely.
Yeah.
Other than that, like a couple of GPs there where I've had some good results. Every time
Yeah.
I go practicing there, I either crash my brains out, I have bike problems, or it's just mega hot and just a crap day. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, but hands down, Lommel. Yeah, get
Okay,
rid of
cool.
it.
Definitely knew that one straight away, didn't you?
Yeah, well, to be fair, at first I was like, oh, no, hang on, which one don't I like? Because they're all pretty
Yeah.
good, especially in England. We've got some cool tracks over here, but
Yeah.
Lommel, mate, get rid of it.
That's brilliant. Sorry, we've got the favourite one coming up. What has been your favourite racing gear that you've worn to date? And what was the reasons for liking a particular kit that you've worn so far in your career?
Whoa.
Bet you've had a few nice ones.
I mean, this Troy Lee stuff this year looks pretty sick.
It does look really nice.
And I've only had a few of the colours so far. I think there's a shipment on the way, so watch out for some fresh colourways coming out. But like, yeah, it's just wicked. The shirts are all printed in as well, so that's awesome. It's pretty good quality too. To be fair, the helmets, you know, they made some big improvements in the helmet. It's a lot safer than in previous years because you know they weren't known for being a strong helmet company. But I think Troy has done a lot of homework and made that thing a lot safer for us, which makes us, you know, ride a bit easier knowing that our heads and you know under warranty.
Yeah, that's for sure. To be fair, the Buildbase Honda livery, everything, all the bikes, everything looks sweet as.
Yeah. There's a couple of sets that we've got that's like the red. It's actually the one I'm wearing in the picture behind you. The red, white, and blue graphics of red, white, and blue. It just looks.
Yeah, it looks weird. Yeah, it does.
One thing that tops it off, the race bike's got the gold A-kit forks on it and shock, so it just sort of brings out that colour a bit more. It looks cool.
That's nice. Very nice. Okay, next one I got. Do you have any superstitions or anything that you have to specifically do on race days or stuff like that on the gate or anything?
Yeah, two things. One, I'll never wear a new helmet without dropping it and putting a little scratch under the peak somewhere. And number two, I won't go out for a race unless I've locked hands with either my mum, dad, or someone like that, and my mechanic or something. You know, and that. I mean, I know it's going to sound a bit raving, but if that is mainly just so if I do crash and like the worst happens, you know, and I die, at least I've got to say bye. I touched someone before I rode. But you know what I mean? It is what it is. Motocross. I think we've all got our superstitions because it's a crazy sport. It's mad. Sure, we're literally idiots, just flying motorcycles up and down hills and stuff, you know. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
To be fair, that's quite tame. Some people got some really mental, weird ones as well.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, next one I got. Where did you race as a schoolboy racer? And did you travel much as a youngster? And can you elaborate on the experience you gained during your schoolboy days, how successful you were, and about that gave you the grounding to move on to the pro scene, obviously?
Yeah, to answer those questions, I travelled a lot, probably the most out of anyone.
Sure.
I spent my 85 days bouncing between England, Europe. I did the Junior World Championship, which I won on 85s. Went to America. I did like Loretta Lynn's on a couple of years. You know.
You win there as well?
I did. That was on 250s though. The 85s, I was just outside the top 10, I think. You know, it was a big eye opener, but also gave me a lot of experience when I came home. You know, after riding tracks with massive triples and doubles and whoop sections and stuff, you get to Hawkstone Park and there's like two tabletops, or you know what I mean? Fox Hills used to have like a pretty good like triple section next to the start, and it was just made it a lot easier. You know, after one of the races in Florida, Mini Olympics or Mini O's as they call it, it's like 4 days of Supercross first and then 4 days of Motocross, like at the same venue. Obviously, it's a lot tamed down, but there's like a full whoop section, rhythm sections, triples, and all sorts. It's just a bit more mellow. So a few years on, that just brings you on. And obviously, riding all over and battling against Europeans that obviously used to take their time and come on strong at the end of the mows. Americans are more just like full throttle. And even Australia, I actually learned a lot about how to set my bike up and stuff. Being on that factory team, and there was a lot of different things to test, and a lot of different options for suspension and gearing and everything, and even tyres. So
was that a big learning experience?
Sorry,
was that a good learning experience?
Yeah, it was. It was wicked, and it sort of taught me that the more you know about your bike, the easier you can set it up, and the easier you can tune it per race, you know what I mean? So I went as far as like trying to understand on how the suspension works, and obviously which way to adjust the suspension, and so that way if I do need to make any changes in between races, I can paint a good picture so they understand which way to go. A lot of the times I'll come and actually just tweak it myself a little bit, because I've got that feel of where it's at. A couple of times, so 2017 in America, I got a load of water through my air filter, and I was travelling between Unadilla and Budds Creek. So I was by myself with my mum, no mechanic. And it sucked a load of water at Unadilla. So like midweek on the way to the next race, I had to rebuild it myself via FaceTime with my mechanic Stu in England. So,
Jesus.
I think it's cool. Look, if you know how the engine works, like I know roughly like what if I starts making a noise, I know if I'm safe or if it's going to just grenade on me. I think just all aspects of it just make you a bit of a better rider. Yeah, for sure.
So that makes more of a whole thing. Right, next one I've got. What other sports do you like watching or even doing?
I was going to sound silly, but golf. I don't get to play nowhere near as much as I'd like to, just because of all the practicing I've been doing in the summer. But yeah, I do try and get out and have a bit of golf, and it's probably the only sport I'll watch on telly. I think football's crap. Rugby, not into it. Cricket, I couldn't think of anything worse to watch. You know what I mean? But golf, there's a lot of finesse to golf, and I think it's a lot like motocross, but the complete opposite, if that makes sense. You've got to be really slow and methodical and precise. You know what I mean? Like you go 2% too hard, you're going way past the green, and it's a bit like the same with motocross or supercross. We come in fourth gear down a straightaway, and you've got to brake there. If you overshoot that by 5 or 10 foot, you're going to miss the turn, or at least miss your rut. And it's you've got to try and control your heart rate and try and keep in control of your situation on a bike. And it's kind of the same thing with golf. You start hitting it willy-nilly, and you're all over the place.
So you quite like the whole technique part of it and the whole...
Yeah. And just the fact that you've got to try and keep your you've got to keep yourself calm, because if you have one bad swing,
it's very easy to lose
have
it.
Another one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of method to it. So
do you like watching all the majors and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go into it and say like I watch them religiously, but it's like about what I would watch. My dad watched a lot of golf, so like whenever it's on there and it's golf, I'll actually spend half an hour with him.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next one I got. What was your favourite track, firstly, as a schoolboy rider, and then obviously during your adult career, what's your favourite track as well?
I'll keep it in the UK. My favourite track's Fox Hills, hands down. I love the dirt, I love the venue, I love the hills. I just think it is such a cool track, especially when it's a good condition. There's ruts there that are just curled over, and it's like moulding clay, like you put your thumbprint in it, it's that tacky. And then 06, Matterley Basin pops up for the GP, and I was like, whoa, this track's cool. And it's grown and grown and grown over the years, and the jumps have got bigger and better, and it's a bit more broken in now, and we've had nations there, and I've actually won 2 GPs there as well, so it's got some of my memories. So for a pro, definitely I'm going to say Matterley, my favourite, yeah.
I love that as well, because Fox Hill's my home track. That's where I live in Swindon.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And quite a lot of people, I've been surprised, Stephen, that quite a few people, like, obviously Stefan Everett says it's his favourite as well, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And now you have, but there's been quite a few, like I spoke to Jamie Dobb, Paul Malin, who've won GPs there, and they didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
No. It would have been hard on a 252 stroke in the middle of summer without like the water in and the ripping.
Yeah.
It was like concrete, mate. But I would have loved it because that's like my favourite. I enjoy the cold over tacky ruts, but you put some polished blue groove on there, and that's my element. Like.
Yeah. I love it, and obviously it's close to me, so I get down there and take some pictures and that, so it's cool. Anyway, right. What has been your most memorable race or meeting to date, and why does it stick in your memory even today?
Well, to be fair, there's two. When I won the Junior World Championship, it was on 85, so I was a kid and everything, but that was like the peak, the highest
really cool.
like racing that you could do, and even I look back now at the results and the people that was there was like Tixier and Jose Boutron and all these crazy GP riders that have had such good careers at it, and you know, it's just little me from Stourbridge on my own Suzuki that cost like £100 to get tuned up, and
special. How did you did that?
It was. I come over the finish line and my dad was like basically doing cartwheels, and tears rolling down his face with joy, and you know, it's just like a special moment. But then after that was when I won the European Championship. That was cool because that was then like almost pretty much a professional championship. It's huge. I'm at the GPs. There's TV footage. There's podiums and everything, and it's a professional championship. But I would say, other than no prize money, it was just cool because we went down to the final round. There was me and Brian Bogers, and in the final I went into the last motor with about a 5 or 6 point deficit in front of him. He's at the front battling with Nick Kuenberg, and I'm back in like 5th or 6th place. And on the last lap, Ben Watson passed me about half a lap to go. And if I'd have stayed behind Ben, I would have lost the championship by 1 point. But I passed him back just in front of the mechanics area, went over the finish line, tied points with Bogers, and I had one extra race win than him. So it was just like it couldn't have got any tighter.
Excuse me.
That feeling like I wasn't sure. I didn't even know where I was. At the time, I didn't know that if I didn't pass Ben, I wasn't going to win. It was just like you can't be losing a position on the last lap, you know what I mean, when you're battling for a championship. So I just dug deep, and it just that came from like my heart, and that's at Lommel. Ben Watson's a fantastic rider. Do you know what I mean? So It was. That's a special one for me. So those two moments really stick out. Moto 2 at Lommel EMX 2014. If you want to ever look it up, be a good battle to watch. Good moto to watch.
What was that the year when there was quite a few Brits in that championship that year as well, wasn't there?
To be fair, there was. It was like Sterry done.
Yeah.
James Koch. Sorry.
Bar in that as well, wasn't he?
No, not that year.
Not that year. Yeah. So Sterry was there.
Yeah, Sterry was there. There's Watson, James Dunn, James Cottrell. They were both on HM Plant, I believe. It was good.
Stacked, wasn't it?
Solid year, mate. Spectacular.
Cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, next one I've got. Who are your closest friends in and around the paddock, and how easy is it to block out the friendship when the gate drops?
So you mean like that I race with?
Who's your friends? Yeah, in the pits from the racing scene. Yeah, any of the guys?
I mean, to be fair, I'm friends with everyone there. I've never really been like an aggressive rider or like dirty or anything. So I pretty much get on with everybody. But I mean, my closest friends are obviously Tommy and Jake and stuff. They're my teammates now, so we're going to be spending a lot of time together this year. And luckily, I haven't got to race them because there's going to be some tension between those two.
Yeah.
I think
they're going to be in the thick end of it.
Yeah, but and then in like 250s, there's a guy Ashton Dickinson. I'm not sure if you know. He spent a lot of time at MTF over the years with me, a couple of years, and when he moved back to Europe, then we've got kind of like linked up and we've been practicing together. We both train with Justin Morris now, and but again, we're friends as long as you keep it clean. I think there's no reason to fall out, especially over like a battle. You know what I mean? If it's just you two going head to head and you both trying your hardest, then you know what I mean. I think it's petty if you let it get into your head. it means you're weak-minded then.
That's for sure. Okay, next one I got. You got to obviously race in the American Supercross scene. What was that experience like? Must have been pretty cool.
Mate, phenomenal. I obviously watched it over the years as a kid growing up. And then when I was about 14, over in America training, Davey Millsaps turned pro, and we went to watch his first ever Supercross and getting to see it in person. And then it would have been, 4 years later, I was in there racing myself. And I remember the first one like it was yesterday. Houston Supercross. I didn't qualify at the heat race, and then I won the LCQ. And when you win the LCQ, you have to go onto the podium and do like a speech to the camera and like to the crowd and everything on the microphone. So luckily, I'd spent some time behind the microphone as the younger days, but it was just that moment of like standing in the bottom and looking up at like 40 to 60,000 people, and they're all silent listening to you talk, and it's just, unreal. And the caliber of riders that were around them was like Porcel and Stroop and Nico Izzy, and even my first pro national, I was racing against Villapoto, in 08 at Southwick, and I don't know, once you've raced with them a few times, you kind of become one of them, and you feel like you belong up there, especially after you have some good races, and it just brings you on, because then you obviously believe in yourself a bit more each time you're up there with them, and each lap you spend in front of one of those guys, and you're listening to a pro circuit Kawasaki that can't get around you is it brings you on. I think it just makes you feel like you're a stronger rider, gives you a lot more confidence.
Then obviously with your covering that Supercross side of things, obviously a lot of the motocross jumps now are quite Supercrossy anyway, so you think that helps you quite a lot, even down to your Fox Hills, your Matterley Basins?
Yeah, definitely, especially in like the rhythm sections. Like there's one in the middle of Matterley Basin, like there used to be rollers, now it's like a rhythm section. I can come out of that very inside turn and just like seat bounce to double in like it's nothing, whereas some people struggle to seat bounce because you've never really had to do it. And then in Fox Hills, when they used to have that rhythm section at the top, it was no problem to triple it, and again, it is definitely, thankful for the Supercross experience.
Like we said, we had a quick chat off camera, like you said, like some of the guys are sort of looking at these things and thinking, "Oh, not too sure about that," and you're like doing that. Yes, I'm loving this.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. No, you can say what we're talking about. I was taking the mick out of Tommy and Jake for.
That's right. You can slip the tongue. That's fine.
Sorry.
You can slip of the tongue a little bit. It's all right.
Oh no, yeah. Sorry,
No, you can do that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, it's at Booker's track. He's got a little Supercross track up there. Pretty much the jumps are AMA spec, and we got there for the first photo shoot thing with the team with Tommy and Jake, and they were both stood by it, shaking their head. And 511 rocks up, and I was like rubbing my hands together. Can't wait to get out there and skim the whoops and triple that and do this, that,
and things like that happen.
Yeah, literally. Well, that was actually on the motocross track, but yeah, as soon as I start getting all excited on the Supercross tracks, big jumps and that, it's when the whips come out and the knack-knacks start flowing.
That's brilliant. That's cool. Good man. Okay, do you have any regrets from your career to date? Have there been any meetings you feel that you should have won or done better? Or have you ever ridden a bike or for a team that you wish you hadn't?
Honestly, the only thing I regretted at my career is the first team I turned pro on in America with that Suzuki City team. Now it was promised to me in my contract with factory engines and factory suspension and like some support throughout the year from the factory team, and I signed the contract. I started training at MTF on my own bikes and that I kept still from amateurs, and when my team finally came down about a month prior to the first round to test the race bikes, I jumped on it and I was gobsmacked like how slow it was. And it had a little like marker pen Japanese logo on the side of the head, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a factory one. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a factory engine. I'm just like not got the right gear or something set up, and you start doubting yourself. And then 4 rounds into championship, my mechanic walks into the office of the team manager and he catches him like writing the Chinese logo on there himself with a marker pen. No. And it turned out they were getting chipped by someone locally, and he was just putting bits and pieces in there. It wasn't nothing major. But when you're locked into a contract and you're halfway through an AMA season, it's hard to get anything else, So I kind of stuck it out for the 2 years, and I did well. I really did. I had a top 5 my first ever year in Supercross, and I finished 10th overall in the championship. And I just wish or wonder, like, what would have happened if I was on a pro circuit bike or a Geico at that moment. You know what I mean? I think I'd have been battling for top 3s and wins, and just with that extra power and that extra testing time and getting everything fine-tuned that I now know. You know what I mean? I would have probably even been better being a privateer and doing it on my own equipment with the connections I had. But other than that, man, I've been pretty happy with everything I've done. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, and as long as I'm on a motocross bike and I've got it set up the way I want it and I can go racing and stuff, I'm happy and quite easy to get on with on the team. So I've never really had any conflicts, to be fair.
That's cool. Right, next one I've got. Can you tell us a funny story from your racing day memories so far?
Yeah, funny story. I did a race back on like 60s again. 65, so it would have been year 2000. It was a club meeting at Coventry, and we did all the races, and the racing finished early, so they did like a one fun race on the end for like mechanics and like anyone else, and people would put like rubber gloves on their head and everything. Well, one of my friend's sisters had got a tutu in the camper, so I put that on and like went out and did the motor and the tutu. And I still hear about it to this day. I didn't really think about it. I just thought it was funny, and then now I still to hear about it. Like Christmas.
Did you win though?
Honestly, it wasn't like a race. It was like a free practice sort of thing.
Right. So you just went out there and cracked.
This was like, you got to imagine that was 20 years ago. So I just vaguely remember riding around in a pink tutu for fun.
That's fair enough. That's pretty funny. Okay, next one I got. If you were to summarize your racing style in 3 words, what would you say it would be?
Too much grease. Well, too much sauce.
Too much sauce. Yeah, I like that. Too much sauce. All right, I'll give you that one. That's good. What would you consider your biggest strengths to be as a racer to be? And are there any areas that you try to address and work on more than other things as well?
My strength's definitely my mental strength. I don't feel pressure. I don't crack under the pressure. Do you know what I mean? I go onto that start line. I know I'm as fast, if not faster than all my competition. And as long as I've put in my work, I feel that I've got the right to beat or race with anyone at any level. You know what I mean? I've got enough experience behind me that you could line me up next to Cairoli and Hurlins and stuff, and I feel like I belong on the start gate, if you know what I mean. Not being cocky or anything. It's just you know your worth, and I think as soon as you believe in yourself, then you're gonna do better, because you know what I mean. You know well of, and you know that you can do better. As soon as you start to doubt yourself is when you have bad motos or you give in to pressure sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So my strength, definitely my mental strength. That's my biggest asset.
Is there anything you need to work on more than anything other than? Is there something you work on more than other things, or?
There's something I should work on more than I do, and that's my diet. I'm terrible with my food. I just love to eat. You know what I mean. I'm a shorter, stockier guy, and I just love food. It's not that I don't like healthy food. I just love food, and that's probably my downfall. And whenever it comes to like race time, like now, I really do have to start cracking down on it and be pretty severe with my diet, because I'll drive past McDonald's and gain weight off it. Do you know what I mean? And my metabolism's terrible. Some of my friends can literally eat and don't put on a pound, and I'm literally on the opposite. So I have to be really careful when it's race time.
So you've been out on your bike tonight anyway, haven't you? So
yeah, I did a quick, it was just under 2 hours. We did found some pretty cool downhill sections, so that was cool. That's jumped like my first decent sized double on a mountain bike. I've always been a motocrosser, and I've been trying to get into biking now, but just scares me not having an engine and like kit on. So a 20-foot double to me on a mountain bike, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. If you could re-race a particular meeting or race tomorrow, Where would it be and why?
If I could re-race it and change it, or just re-race it.
Just re-race anything you wanted to that you have before.
Probably Matterley 2016. It was absolutely perfect conditions, tacky. I was on my Pico Husqvarna, which was also a really strong bike of mine. Yeah. And everything just went well. Like, I had good starts. The track was perfect. My bike felt amazing. My suspension was good. I could literally hear the crowd the entire way around the place. You know what I mean? And it was packed. And
yeah, really
and then winning it, getting on the podium, and I think it was Josh Spinks. I think was on the podium as well. And we were almost an all-British podium. Sterry needed like one more position or something, and he'd have been like third overall. I believe, unless I'm getting that mixed up with the year, but I'm pretty sure it was almost an all-British podium. So yeah, and Matterley's a cool track, and it's massive jumps. Yeah. I was sending that big quad. That's actually where I passed for the lead. I jumped over the top of the Kawasaki guy, Sanai, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
I jumped right over the top of his head, quadded over him, and sent it for the fans.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I see someone. Who was that? Was that Jamie Law? And I think his bike collapsed.
Yeah, he crashed. His bike snapped in half.
Yeah, I was like, mental. Man, just shows how big the jump is, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. To be honest, I would come out the inside, I'd jump the first tabletop, kind of manual the second two drop-offs, and just shift up to like fourth gear, everything my bike had got, and I'd make it perfect. Right. If I jumped too far off the two drop-offs into the hole, you wouldn't quite have enough speed, so you'd have to back out and like triple it. So you literally had to get it like perfect to get over it.
It's a monster jump, that is for sure. What do you feel is your best achievement in motocross to date, and why?
My best achievement is probably about that the European Championship. I think that's probably the highest up one, either that or the Junior World Championship on the 85s. That's like I said, that's the highest level that I could be at the time. You know what I mean? And it's not very often you get a solid gold medal, is it, for being a world champion? You know, and stacked field. So I've got to split it between those two, man. I couldn't pick.
Yeah, very good there. What are your current ambitions and targets in your motocross career now?
I want to win a British title. I got robbed of my last one that I battled out for, and since then I haven't really done it. 2017 was the following year. I went and did AMA, and then 2018 I focused on only the Europeans, riding for the Carglass Honda team. Yeah. And then that fell apart. So then I came back and did a couple of British here and there on my own bike. And 2019 went back to America. I did Supercross, and then now I've gelled so well with this team. It's time to check it off the list and win an MX2 title. And then if that's to happen, my plan was to do that this year and then move up MX1 and battle it out with Tommy and Jake next year. And I think that's sort of gone down the pan because I don't really know what's going on with the British Championship at the moment. I don't know if there's going to be a championship to say, you know what I mean? And so I want to definitely next one check this MX2 British Championship off and move up and try and knock off a MX1 too.
Cool. Makes sense. Which riders, past or present, that you've raced with, would you say that you dislike or didn't enjoy racing against, and why?
Didn't enjoy riding against. Man, that's a hard one. I've not been asked that ever before. In the thousands of interviews I've done. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. Probably Ashley Greedy when I was in the amateur still. I was in the BYMX. It just got so tense and heated, and there was dirty riding between both of us. You know what I mean? And we were 16-year-old kids, a lot of testosterone, and we both really wanted to win, and it just wasn't fun. You know what I mean? It was like you go to the start line and you couldn't even look at each other, and I'm not like that. So to get caught up in something like that was, it wasn't fun. There was he protested me a couple of times and trying to say I passed on yellow flags and all this malarkey, and it just wasn't good at the time. And I'm friends with Ash again now. Like over the
That's
years,
good.
we fell out a few times, but
Yeah.
I'm friends with him again now. But it was just that one was it was just a sour one, if you know what I mean. And he ended up beating me for the championship, which made it worse. I had a back wheel blew out somehow at one of the races. I lost all the spokes, and by the time I'd done a pit stop and swapped a wheel, I was just way out of the points, and I just dropped a bit too far back then.
At least it's all buried and all that now, anyway.
Yeah. Long gone. It was a good learning curve, you know what I mean? Makes you, once you've battled tooth and nail with someone like that, you kind of set up a bit better for the next year. You've got more experience, and you're not going to make the same mistakes twice. So yeah, it was good.
Another experience. Who would you consider as the 3 best riders that you've ever competed against during your career so far?
The 3 best riders that I've battled against or I've rode with.
Just the 3 best riders that you've ever competed with that you feel that the
it's
best.
It's gonna have to be Ryan Villapoto, Ryan Dungey, and I've never raced Travis. Hurlins, yeah, I've raced Hurlins. I actually beat Hurlins at Ukraine in 2009. It was the European of Nations, I believe it's called. It's like the junior Des Nations kind of thing. But
is that that? I remember the name of it. Oh, I know what you're on about.
But yeah,
Coupe something. Was it Coupe?
Maybe.
I can't remember.
I'm not sure. But yeah, it was the junior nations. It was like me, Mel Pocock, Josh Waterman for like England. And we went over there. I was on the 450. Grant, I was on a 450. Hurlins on a 250. But Jeffrey Hurlins, do you know what I mean? He was phenomenal on like a small wheel 85. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, many moons ago. Do you know what I mean? He's obviously gotten a lot faster now. I think he beat me nowadays. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm racing with Hurlins and obviously Villapoto. Like 4-time Supercross champion, outdoor champion, nations. He won nations how many times? He was special, wasn't he? And I think he retired a bit too early, and I wish he'd have tried a bit harder that year in the GPs. But I think he just had enough, hadn't it, by the sounds of it?
Yeah, for sure. Right, okay, I've got a few more for you. If you could give advice to any youngster that's currently racing in Schoolboy Motocross who really wants to go pro, what would you say to them?
Just stick it out. Don't, you know what I mean? It is pro, and we are professionals, but we're the same riders as you are. Like I was talking about earlier with the mental strength. Believe in yourself and don't be worried that the pros are going to be, like these big scary guys. We're only doing the same thing as you're doing. If anything, it's better because everybody on that British Championship start line knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's a job to us. So you don't get the sketchy people that are, just out there just to try and take you out sort of thing. And just stick to it. Just keep putting your time and put in your work and don't worry about anybody else. And I think you'll be fine. That's my advice.
Cool. We sort of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'll change the question a little bit. It's you're now obviously on the Buildbase Honda team with Dave Thorpe, and I put how is that going and how are you guys going? How did what I'll actually bring into that question now is because we've already touched on it was how did that deal come about then? And how did that come about?
Honestly, I got back from America last year about August to September, August time. I had got no deal because my plan was to stay in America for 2020 as well, but I had a little mishap with my visa, and I ended up having to come home a bit early. And I struck up a conversation with Dave because I sat down with my dad. I said, "Look, Dad, I still haven't checked off this British Championship title." And I said, "What's going to be the best way to make that happen?" And we had a little think about things and negotiated with a couple of different people, and then come into my head to speak to Dave because I'd heard that they weren't running an MX2 rider and this, that, and that. It was just going to be Tommy and Jake. Because kind of hear through the grapevine before, anything kind of leaks out or legally leaks out, should I say? So I decided, I just said, you know what, let's call him up, see what he's got to say, see if he'd be interested in taking me on. And the conversation went on that he didn't want to, have anybody on the 250 team because he wanted to focus on Tommy and Jake. And then I came along and said, look, I'm ready to win this MX2. Do you know what I mean? And obviously Dave knew my capability, and because it's a lot harder to compete for an MX2 championship. You know what I mean? There's a lot more parts that go into it. There's a lot more time and effort getting the bike up to speed and everything. You know what I mean? And keeping things going. So with Tommy and Jake going head to head in an MX1 battle, it wasn't first option to have an extra MX2 rider. So. Just come up, and I went down there and had a meeting with Dave. Me and my dad did, and we said, look, like, obviously I know the budgets are low because you've got two of the best riders in England. You know what I mean? You've just signed both of them up for this year, so I don't expect to be treated like a king, but I'd like to be treated like part of the team and be equal. And to be honest, it's been nothing shy of that. They treat me. We're all three equally the exact same. I think Tommy's had a few sets of kit before we have, but he's Britain's golden boy, and you know what I mean. He's got to look fresh as he can.
So you said to me off air that you've already obviously rocked some of the kit that people would have seen out there on some pictures and everything. But you said you might have some new stuff that's coming or something as well. Did you say that?
Yeah. We should. Hopefully, we've got some new kit coming soon. I know Mark at CI Sports has had all this new stuff come in. He's just waiting he's just going through the boxes and shipping them out to me. I think it was today he was sending it out. So you got to watch out on my Instagram for some fresh colourways coming soon.
Is this the current your wear to the races and everything you got on now?
What races? We haven't had any races.
Wow, that's what you're going to be wearing.
Well, no, Dave, I'm not sure what the full race ones are going to look like. These were some first edition ones that I got for Hawkstone. And obviously with no races coming up until it was like a couple of days ago, we hadn't got a clue. It wasn't like on my priority list to order up all new equipment. But, I mean, the Buildbase Honda team's pretty well known. And, I've got the Bridgestone's a big sponsor of ours and obviously Honda. So we got the main ones on here. It's better than the shirt I was wearing earlier, let's put it that way.
That's cool. All right, I've only got a couple more for you. What are your social media usernames so people can obviously hook you up, follow you on all different?
To be honest, I don't even really use Facebook anymore, but my Instagram is Steven Clarke 511. Pretty simple, and I have got a Twitter, but again, I haven't used it in years. I'll just pretty much stick to Instagram. I think it suits me well. Like, I like to, have a bit of a laugh. I post quite a few memes here and there and some pretty cool knack pictures like the one in the background.
Yeah.
If you want to follow my life and my lifestyle and what I get up to, then definitely, hit my Instagram page up.
Okay, cool. Before we go, is there any sponsors or any shout outs you want to make to anyone or?
Yeah, I just want to thank all of the team, the Buildbase Honda team, Dave, his wife, Ryan, his wife, Willie. You know what I mean? It's been great. We haven't got to go racing or anything, but being, I've had parts coming out of my ears from my practice bike, and we've been putting in motos. We've done a few test days here and there, and you know what I mean? They've gone above and beyond to make me feel welcomed, and can't wait to repay them with some race wins and hopefully a championship. That'd be nice.
Well, fingers crossed we can hopefully get some racing soon before the year's out and see you guys in action.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, I know I've got the MX Nationals coming up at the 1st and 2nd of August. But stay tuned for the release date of the Maxis. That's the one that I'm going to aim for and try and bring that one home for the boys.
Yeah, all the best for that, mate. I really think you'll definitely be right there trying to win the title. So wish you all the best for that.
Thank you very much, dude.
Really appreciate your time, Stephen. Yeah, really enjoyed it, mate. I much appreciate it. Thanks, Stephen. Take it easy, mate, and all the best.
Bye.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.